is yours truly, Alphacology, and I coming back to you live as I always do. Well, actually, we're not live this time. I'm just having fun doing my podcast, man. Let me put my shades back on. I did something different. I started doing a little Q&A, and men, I hate y'all questions. Y'all questions was good. I hated them, but the women dug a little bit deeper for me. So these are usually more female centered questions, but like I always say, man, we trying to be the most alpha version of ourselves. And some of the best things you could do in life are the hardest things you could do. And being in a relationship with a woman is one of the hardest things you could possibly do in life. But guess what? It could be well worth it with the right woman. Even the right woman gonna give you a hard time sometimes. So y'all just gotta get that through your head. It ain't no easy sailboat with any female that's worth her weight in gold. So, um, my fellas, man, shout out to my boy, some of my strongest supporters. They were talking, and I'm gonna be, I get it. We do the body count thing, and I want to say this about the body count. Most women don't recover from a high body count, not because they body count high and no man wants them. It's because they never put in the work to mature and forgive themselves and have that hard conversation with themselves. All right, they didn't hold themselves accountable and move and heal from it. Same thing with a man. We have a lot of traumatic relationships from our childhood, from dating the wrong women. We never really um matured from it. We always just blamed it on somebody else or blamed it, oh, that was a horrible girl. 9 times out of 10, you knew that girl was horrible before you met her. With that being said, I want to go back to some of the best questions I had so far. All right. And one of them was, what's one thing that makes you catch feelings faster than you should? Now, this is real simple. Believe it or not, it has nothing to do with sex. It actually has everything to do with spending time with that person. The more you spend time with that person, the more you're going to attach to that person and create what we call a soul tie. So the more time you spend with her or him, you're going to have feelings. And this doesn't mean intimate relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend feelings. It could be just feelings like, this my partner, this my dog. And that partner and your boy let you down. You just put too much time and emotional energy into them to the point where it just hurts real awful when they let you down. Understand, we're humans. We're going to let you down at some point in some time. I want you guys to understand that. Part of being the most alpha version of yourself is understanding emotional control and how much emotion you put in time and effort and energy you put into someone. You can only put so much time, effort, and energy into someone till you stop putting it into yourself. And once you stop putting it into yourself, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get let down every time. Because everybody is not you. Everybody won't treat you like you. That's the biggest misconception we have. You think everybody's going to treat you like you would treat yourself if you were in that situation. And that's not how it goes. Um, with that being said, let me go to the next question. Um, what's a red flag you ignored because they look good? Um, the childhood trauma that they did not heal from. They look good. They had a lot of trauma, but they look good. And you think you could deal with the trauma that they have from their childhood, but you can't. But the person I'm talking about, they have pretty eyes, smooth voice, everything I liked, and it came back to bite me. So that was the red flag, and you usually could tell when somebody has childhood trauma. Um, Unless you're a therapist, stay away from that person until they heal themselves. You'll know when they're healed. Um, Again, if you're going to deal with people that have trauma, you have to have a very high level of emotional intelligence. And I don't recommend that for anyone. I don't. Um, I want you to come to me already healed. Come to me already healed. I have things to do. I have things to do. I have plans. I have goals, and I none of my plans or goals are to figure out your childhood, navigate you through your healing. I I don't do that. Um, I think that's very beta male of a man to sit and heal a woman through her trauma, because you're gonna have to sacrifice a lot to heal a woman. And guess what? When they're healed, sometimes you're not the man for them. You'll realize that as you go on. Save yourself the heartbreak when somebody is having a lot of childhood trauma or traumatic experience, and let them heal on their own. They don't need you. If you want to be their friend, but don't get too emotionally intertwined with them. That's what I'm going to say to that. Um, I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm doing this based off my life experiences and what I know as a man, and what I'll never do again. Um, the other one. Have you ever had a crush on someone you definitely should not have liked? Um, yes, I think we all had a crush on someone we definitely should not have liked. Um, I'm gonna keep it simple. I was dating this girl. I had a crush on her mom. That was that. Um, was it wrong? I don't know if it was wrong. I'm grown. She was grown. I was at the age where I could date your mom or you. It was what it was. I'm gonna leave it at that. That's, you know, it is what it is. I would advise any man, if you're in that situation, back out of that situation. Back, don't do it. Don't, trust me. I lived that life. Do not do it. Do not do it. If you have any crushes on her sisters, I was about to say brothers, but her sisters or whatnot, back out. Back out, bro. Don't even do it, bro. Don't even do it. Never. Don't do it. If you have a crush on her mom, stop dating her. I mean, don't do it. Don't do it. Woo, boy. Yeah, man. If your mama fine and you fine, it can go either way. It can go either way, boy. All right, man. Let me stop playing. Um, I'm gonna just say this: don't do it. If her mama fine and you fine and her mama, don't do it, man. Yeah. It was somebody I was dating. I had a crush on her mom. Yeah, it ain't end up well. It's just not something you could do. Go ahead and walk away. Especially if you're not in that mode to be focused on a relationship and you're just dating, you just out here having fun. Yeah, don't even play with it. um I like this question because I do this I do this all the time. Have you ever flirted with someone just to see if you still got it? Yes. You know how you get bored at the job. You get bored at the job, and that 6 year old lady, you're just flirting with her. Just, I don't want you for real. I was bored. I was bored. I was bored. we at work together all the time. You don't want that. You don't do it. Again, that's just a don't do. Don't do it. Do not do it. It will come back to bite you. And yes, I understand flirting is fun, especially if you're at work. It make the day go by faster. But some people take what you say very, very seriously, and now they waiting by your car. Now they writing you messages. Yeah, don't do that. Um, what T Pain say? I'm a flirt. Remember that song? T Pain and R. Kelly. Hey, yeah, you don't want to do that. Now this is my next question. I think I could do a whole podcast about this. All right. Talk about how intimacy feels deeper than just sex. Being intimate and sex are totally different things. Now, for men and women, they're different. Men like sex, women likes intimacy more than sex. So that's our biggest misconception. To be intimate, you don't have to be sexual, believe it or not. Um, I don't want to go too deep into it. I'm gonna make this one a podcast episode, and I'm gonna get the right woman on the podcast to talk about this. Because I could talk about it from a man's point of view, but I don't want to take away a woman's point of view on that. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Intimacy does feel deeper than sex, and women are wired for intimacy. They're wired for intimacy. Men are wired to procreate. Women pretty much have all their eggs already and they get rid of them as they go. Men, we just keep creating sperm. All right, we just keep procreating ourselves, basically, our DNA. So it gets to a point where women crave intimacy, crave passion, and men don't really get to that point sometime ever. We could literally go throughout our whole lives just wanting sex, never wanting intimacy. You get what I'm saying? And believe it or not, intimacy makes the sex way better. But that's just my opinion. I'll be honest with you. And it's hard to, you have to tap into another part of yourself, basically. And when a man becomes intimate with a woman, not just in a sexual way, but in a spiritual and mental way, it's only a couple women you could do that with. It's only a couple women you could do that with. Um, and I hate to say this, sometimes we don't we the women we want to be intimate with, they already left. They already broke our hearts. Women want to be intimate later on in life. Men want to be intimate early on in life. You get what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. And it's hard to explain it, but I explain it later in the podcast. But the intimate part, intimacy, you have to break it down. It could just be a woman reading out loud to you. That could get you going, or that could just make you feel good and comfortable in life. It has a lot to do with you feeling safe, which men don't ever actually get a chance to do, especially if you doing what you doing, you know, you don't get a chance to be safe all the time. So that's a part of a lot of intimate moments, and it has a lot to do with, we just don't understand it because we think intimacy is just based off sex. Can intimacy lead to sex? Yes. Can you have sex and be intimate at the same time? Yes. But they're totally different. And I do not want to take away what I think it is without sharing perspectives with a woman who's mature enough to have that conversation. A lot of women aren't. mature enough to have that conversation. A lot of men aren't mature enough to have the intimacy conversation. So my next, and this is my final one, man. Can bad communication ruin chemistry? Yeah, it can. Bad communication is really just because you guys aren't on the same page. All right. You got chemistry, and what's the other word? I want to look it up so bad, but incompatibility. Thanks, bro. You got chemistry and compatibility. Bad communication comes from compatibility. It has nothing to do with chemistry. You can have the best chemistry in the world and horrible compatibility. Trust me, I know. But guess what? I'd rather you have great compatibility than horrible chemistry. And that's a whole nother podcast in itself. I'm going to do that next week. I promise you I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that all the time. And in order to have a great, fulfilling marriage or relationship with a woman, you got to have both. You got to have 50-50. Sometimes the chemistry got to be on 100. Sometimes the compatibility has to be on 100. And the reason I say this is I've dated a lot of women that we had chemistry because we found each other attractive. We found each other fun. But our compatibility was wrong because we didn't have the same mindset, the same ideals. We just had fun. She liked the way I looked. I liked the way she looked. She turned me on. I turned her on. Right? Then you have compatibility. And it sucks because sometimes the women that are in alignment with you and they have share your same values and they're going to fit with you, they're not always the most attractive. They're not always the most exciting. So you have to come to fruition as a man, like, what do I want? How do I want to build my legacy? Do I want to build it off chemistry or compatibility? And 9 times out of 10, the older you get, the more you see compatibility is important. And not saying chemistry doesn't have it, because chemistry can, lack of chemistry can have you in a dead end marriage, a dry marriage. And you're going to be looking somewhere else for that compatibility. And if you guys who are planning to be in a monogamous relationship, if you understand anything, you got to have some chemistry to stay faithful. If you don't have chemistry with that woman and it's strictly compatibility, you're not staying faithful. And that marriage is going to suck. I'm just going to be honest with you. Now, vice versa. If you only have chemistry with no compatibility, that marriage will die as well. Because all you have is chemistry, but you guys have no compatibility. And at that point, the arguments are going to take over and kill the relationship to where the chemistry is not strong enough to beat the lack of compatibility. And you don't want to have that. But anyway, man, this has been another episode of Alphacology. Like I always say, it's not tea, it's protein. Peace out.